Good evening and welcome to the Fairfield City School District Board of Education meeting for October 16th, 2025. Mr. Phillips, will you call the order?
Mr. Begley.
Here.
Ms. Birding Miller.
Present.
Mr. Clark.
Present.
Ms. Gundrum.
Here.
Mr. Napier.
Here.
Thank you. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move into public hearing. Mr. Smith.
Yes, Mr. Begley, members of the board, if you recall in the past, we have typically had times where we have had, as an item for board discussion, school district calendar. There was a law passed recently, and as a result of that law, we are required to have a public hearing regarding the school calendar. So we will proceed just as we have in the past in regard to the proposal for a school calendar. I will share some background, some information about that, and then that will come back to you for your approval at the November 20th board meeting. So as I mentioned, we are now legally required to hold a public hearing 30 days before adopting a school calendar. This evening, we have proposed school calendars for the 26-27, 27-28, and 28-29 school years to share with you. The calendars can be found in your board packet and match what Mrs. Hauer has already shared with you via email. For those of you in the audience, there are copies over there if you would like to take a look at those packets. Each calendar is built around 184 teacher report days, which includes 175 student attendance days, allowing for the legally required amount of instructional minutes. The structure of the calendar remains consistent with the following key components: 5 in-service days devoted to professional development for our staff, 1 teacher workday at the start of the year to allow teachers to prepare their classrooms and lessons before students arrive, 1 teacher workday at the end of the year to provide time for closing out the school year, and 2 conference exchange days which recognize the time teachers spend meeting with families outside of the regular school day on 4 scheduled conference nights. Each calendar continues to be designed working backwards from our graduation date, which is set based on the availability of the Centos Center, historically during Memorial Day weekend. This ensures that our seniors and their families can plan with confidence while maintaining a consistent endpoint to the school year. We've also maintained the same well-received breaks that support both student and staff well-being: a fall break in October, a full week for Thanksgiving break in November, 2 weeks for winter break, and a full week for spring break. In addition, the calendar continues our staggered start for students at the beginning of the year. This approach has been proven valuable in supporting smoother transitions for both students and staff. And if I could just provide some additional information, we started the staggered start several years ago, and our staff members, our families, our parents have given us just amazing feedback, especially at the elementary level, when you have especially those kindergartners coming to school for the first time, and just students who are new to each and every building. It's just less chaos. It's safer. It's more secure. All things considered, that has been an amazing experience for all. Someone actually today asked me how often, when did we start the fall break? And I think that's been about 2 to 3 years. And several years ago, we actually surveyed the community, our staff, our families, and presented these potential options for a school calendar. And what I just mentioned, that fall break, a full week at Thanksgiving break, 2 full weeks at winter break, and a full week for spring break, that was the overwhelming choice for those people who decided to participate. In fact, it was about 70%. And also in part of that survey, we also shared that if this is your choice, this is what your school calendar will look like, and this is when you will start the school year, right? So when you have these breaks built in, it does result in a little bit of an earlier start time. And I think over the years, that start time has been anywhere from August 7th, maybe to 8th, 9th, 10th. Again, it all goes back to Memorial Day, that calendar, and when that occurs in May. So even after that first year we had it, we received some feedback that some people weren't aware of the survey and they felt like we should do it again, so we did it again. And again, I don't know if this is an exact number, but I'm fairly certain that it was 69%, so there was almost identical results when we surveyed our school community for the second time. So I mentioned that overall, these calendars balance instructional needs, professional development, family schedules, and important traditions like graduation timing. We do have families and staff members who are already requesting these calendar dates, so pending any questions or concerns, these calendars, as I mentioned earlier, will be on the November 20th board agenda for approval. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have about that.
I don't think we have any. No. Great, thank you.
Okay, all right, you're welcome.
Next up, presentations and resolutions.
Yes, let's see here. We actually have two presentations this evening. Our first presentation is a school spotlight at Creekside Middle School. And at this time, I will turn it over to our principal, Dr. Carrie Francini.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. Also want to say for sixth graders coming into middle school, that staggered start and having half of them at a time just makes it so much easier that first day to make sure they know where they're going and to get from point A to point B. You can just, a little less stressful for them and for the staff. So I just wanted to echo Mr. Smith's comments as to the middle school side. So welcome to Creekside. You are here in our cafeteria today. And thank you. You recently approved money to revamp our cafeteria through these doors. We now have updated food lines and stainless steel appliances. Like, we are living high life over here right now. So please feel free to walk through and take a look. Mr. Perry's keys can get you back there. But please walk through and take a look. It's made a huge difference in just how fast our kids can get through the lines. And they have more time to eat and sit and socialize with friends. So thank you for that.
And while that is amazing, I think it is important to note that that renovation did not occur with funds from the general fund, right? I just think it's important to highlight that. We are very thankful, and it is amazing, but that money did not come out of general fund money. So I just want to make sure we clarify that. Thank you.
So tonight I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our visioning process that we have done over 2 years here at Creekside. Really just looking at who we are and what we do. What do we stand for? Obviously, a lot has changed in the last 10 or 15 years in Fairfield. I've been the principal here at the middle school now for 8 years, which I think that's a record for a secondary principal in the district. So, but just who we are and what do we stand for. So we started this process by asking our staff members, what do you do and what do we do? As a school, as a district, just what are you spending your time on a day-to-day basis? So that included teachers, administrators, counselors. We also included our food service workers, our secretaries, our custodians in that conversation. And as you might have expected, I got what I asked for. I ended up with posts because they had one topic per Post-it. So they were allowed to write, "We serve food," and they had to put it on a Post-it. "We make relationships with kids," and they had to put that on another Post-it. So we ended up with just, as you imagine, just a table covered in all of these things and all of these wonderful things that we do for kids. So I reflected on that, and I thought, well, okay, I asked for that. And so it was also, I think, a little therapeutic for them to acknowledge all of the work that they do. And so trying to figure out, okay, now that I asked for that, what do I do with it? Because yes, we serve lunch, we build relationships, we teach citizenship, we have a district health center, we teach compassion, we create lifelong friends, we help kids through middle school, because not everybody loved middle school, I don't know about you. We distribute medication. So just as an example, one of our staff members, I actually have these hanging in my office, said lifelong friends and happiness, spelled with a Y, which I loved. It made me so happy. And so I said, well, is that for the kids or is that for the staff? And he said both. And I just, as a principal and as a leader in the building, that meant a lot to me of, we are building a community and a family here at Creekside. And so through that process, trying to make piles of Post-its with similar ideas, we came up with the following ideas. We teach, we support, and we inspire. So yes, we teach, that is our main function. Thank you, Mandy, our curriculum director, guided by state standards, but we also teach so many other critical skills. We support, we do all of the things outside of teaching and learning, which I'm gonna look at Mr. Crapo, and that's his world. So, but we're in, our goal at the end of the day is really to inspire kids to be the best them that they can be and to make a difference in their community. So number one, so we're gonna teach, that's what we do. So yes, we teach math, science, social studies, English. We also teach Spanish, coding, SEL, which are social emotional skills. We have a wonderful music program in Fairfield. We are so lucky to still have orchestra, band, and choir offered in all 3 grade levels in middle school. We also serve a very large population of English language learners here at Creekside. We also teach technology safety. We also teach social skills. We also teach boundaries, because I don't know if you've met a middle schooler, but they can't keep their hands to themselves. We teach perseverance, and we teach problem solving. And so again, it's not just about the curriculum, it is about all of those other skills that they will carry forward in life. So this is a couple pictures of our students recently doing a dissection of a flower that was donated by Kroger. The flowers were donated by Kroger to Miss Miller's dissection class. And when you think dissection, you think of things, I don't know, more like the pigs in high school biology or, the frogs. So they do eventually get to some animals, but they start with, non-animal things. So the next 2 pictures are from our music programs recently at 8th grade band night. And the last one is actually a group that was created last year of flutes. We had enough flutes that in our band program that Maddie Wessel got them together for an after-school program that it was just a flute ensemble, and they performed at our recent concert. I apologize. Support. So support is the second thing. We have teach and we have support. So what does support look like? Food. When I asked our food service workers, what do you do? What do we do? And they looked at me and said, we serve breakfast, we serve lunch. And I was like, you guys are underselling everything that you do. So yes, they serve breakfast and they serve lunch, but they also serve kindness and smiles and grace to all of our students who, for whatever reason, may not have lunch money on their account for that day or just need another smile throughout the day. We also have many, many services that are offered here at Creekside. We have school-based therapy. We use Catalyst and New Path, and New Path actually, we are kind of the pilot building, and it expanded to Crossroads this year for a school-based therapy partial hospitalization program, so it's the equivalent of half of the student's day, but they get to be in their school, they get to go to that therapy, and then they go to class, and they don't miss that additional time for students that really need it. We also have the health clinic, as I mentioned. This year, we also started mediation through our partnership with the PD, the police department, so that's been really successful in keeping out of the courts, but having some mediation with people that are not us, and that brings just a different neutral person to the table to have some of those conversations and to teach kids to sit down and talk to each other, because again, that's a skill that some of them are lacking with, their phones always being in front of them. We also have a Butler County Success Liaison who, for any other needs that we may have, whether it's homelessness or they're having trouble with their car or they just are so wonderful at connecting our students to additional resources. We do actually listen. When students show up, we try to give a fresh start every day, because one thing about middle schoolers is that they're going to love you one day and they're going to hate you the next, and then they're going to love you the next day, and you have to be ready for that. So our staff provides listening ears every single day, and we also just show up. We're going to show up for our kids every day here in the building, but we're also going to show up outside of school. Our staff shows up at the music concerts and at performances, and even over the summer when they're playing in the Little League tournament, we have teachers and staff that show up for our kids. So just really, really proud of them. Again, highlighting the partnerships. I did not tell Officer Bree that I was going to use this picture of her, so I'm sure she'll be really thrilled about that. But just showing, this was Officer Mac's last day, and a celebration of his time here at Creekside, that they really do make a huge difference, our SROs and our partnership through the police department. And last, we inspire kids. We want students to, lead. We want them to pursue their passions. We want to share our pride, and we want them to have pride both in their community and themselves, and promote confidence both in themselves and in others. Our day-to-day PBIS phrase is be kind, be positive, and be responsible, and there's a reason that kind comes first. So, but how do we inspire kids? Yes, we give them classroom opportunities. We also have sports, clubs, and additional community opportunities. Our 8th graders are headed to Washington, D.C. next week, so they are very, very excited about that. This last slide is collages of just some great things going on. So in the upper left-hand corner, that was our band that recently got a superior rating at a contest they went to. Emma White and Mr. O'Leary are there in that second photo at the top. She's dressed as Frederick Douglass for a presentation where she had to memorize part of Frederick Douglass's speech and say it to the class. So I was lucky enough to get to be there for that. And we have our Dungeons and Dragons Club there in the right-hand corner. Again, if middle schoolers can come up with some things that they want to be interested in, and you'll see Harry Potter Club, you'll see ASL Club. We actually have a kindness club this year, and those are all student interested, like, hey, I have this idea and I want to start a club, and our teachers step up every time to help them do that and to supervise it on their own time after school. At the bottom there, with what looks like a purple curtain, but I think it's just the lighting, is Jared Robb, and he was an 8th grader here last year who actually wrote a piece that was performed by our 8th grade band at Arts Fair. And this is him explaining it and the whole thought process in putting a dark march, kind of a dark Darth Vader vibe, and this piece that he had created over the summer. And again, just being in awe of our students and what they do every day. And then our 7th grade girls basketball team won last year, and so did our 8th grade girls basketball team. So obviously so proud of them and their accomplishments. But back to the overall mission, we are teaching, we are supporting, and we are inspiring. The kids here inspire me every day, and the staff do as well. So yes, we hope to inspire them, but it definitely turns around and gives tenfold back to us. So just really proud of the work we do here, and thank you for allowing me to share. We do have, kind of in that vein, this is kind of a shameless plug, our Veterans Day ceremony is coming up. So each year we do a Veterans Day celebration out here around the flagpole at around 7:30 in the morning. There is breakfast provided, and we acknowledge all of the veterans from our staff, but we also have the fire department and the PD are here, and it's really just a time that we come together and celebrate. There is breakfast afterward, but this year, for the first time, we are going to try to do a day of service following that. So eventually, I'd love for it to be a school-wide thing, but we're going to start small. Our 8th grade band is going to go over to the elementary schools that day and play the March of Armed Forces and talk about what that means. I'm really hoping they can stand on Route 4, like along that sidewalk on Route 4 over by Central, and kind of share just the joy in what they do But also we do have an 8th grade team whose teacher is pretty passionate about this and looking for those volunteer opportunities in the community. So right now we know of one, like we're going to go down to Creekside Park down the street and do some things. But if anybody knows of volunteer opportunities, we would love to hear from you because we just, we want to make that day big and get bigger each year. So thank you so much.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you, Principal Franchini. Any questions or comments?
Well, Dr. Franchini, great job. I love your enthusiasm, of course. Where's the slide I was going to go back to here? And you mentioned the food and the breakfast, and you're right, it's much more than we serve breakfast. We serve lunch. They forget the interaction and the positivity they have on students that come in. And I brought it up before, the Fairfield Prevention Coalition at the freshman building does those ribbons every year to who influenced you more, who influenced you, someone in your life that affected you in a positive way. And it can be teachers, and it can be admin, but it's bus drivers, it's the cafeteria workers, it's the custodians. So it is the smiles from no matter who it is that they see can make that student's day much better. And I love that. And you mentioned the liaisons. We're just blessed in this district to have those liaisons because they are fantastic.
Yes,
fantastic.
truly.
Yeah. So, great job. Thanks for putting this together. And I know there's much more than this that happens. And you mentioned in the summertime, the staff comes around these kids, and even after hours, they do these clubs that are kid-sponsored, student-sponsored, and led. And the teachers' passion to do what they do, care for these kids, lift them up, help them be leaders, is all right here. So, thank you for doing what you do, Doctor.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
I also want to thank you. Middle school is by far some of the hardest years of a student's lives, and so the fact that you are now the longest-standing principal in the district, I commend you and appreciate all the effort you do. I think it's so great to do events like the Veterans Day, where you're not only recognizing community members, but you're having our students also community service by going to the elementary schools and giving them insight on that day too. Because as a young kid, it's fine if the veteran comes in, but it means even more if their peers, the kid to look up to is coming in and kind of showing them what this day means to them. So I think that's such a great opportunity, and thank you so much for hosting something like this. This is just a small snapshot of our day, of your day, of the staff's day. But those small snapshots mean the world to these students. So thank you so much for all of that you do and all of that our staff does. And thank you for having us at your wonderful building.
I always enjoy when we take our meetings on the road here and get into the schools and learn more about each individual school. And I really appreciate how you did the Post-it note thing. It seemed like it seems like such a simple task, but it leads to so much more. And I agree with Mr. Clark. Yeah, the lunch people, I think, were probably some of the kindest people. I was somebody who forgot my lunch at home a
Our
lot.
food service workers in this building, I just want to brag on them. They are wonderful people. Like, yes, they do their job and they show up every day, but they are wonderful human beings. And so,
When I was a kid, I used to forget my lunch at home a lot. And I remember the cafeteria workers were some of the nicest people. I would be so upset that I forgot. And they'd be like, it's okay. It's okay. We've got food here. You're not going to starve or anything. So, this was very informative. It's very inspiring to see all of this. And thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie, for putting all this on for us. This is a lot different than when I graduated from this building in 1977. Wish we'd had principals like you, but they were a little tougher.
we did have the class of 75, a couple members walk through
I saw 'em,
earlier.
yeah.
Nice.
So they have their reunion. So we're hosting a couple more tomorrow before the football game.
Yeah, 2 more years, I'll be here walking around again.
Thank you, and I don't think it should be lost. I think you referenced it, and of course you referenced it as well, is that it was a bit of a revolving door 8 or 9 years ago at the middle school level, and it's such an important formative years in our students' lives. And so to have you and Mr. Main handling these positions, that's comforting, right? And it's now become a strength as opposed to a weakness for the district, so thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to
Introduce.
introduce, thank you, introduce
I
your
would love
guest?
to introduce, Miss Reed is here supporting me tonight. She's also wearing our staff t-shirt, which you'll see says Teach, Support, Inspire. So those are our t-shirts for the year. Miss Delaney is actually at a funeral this evening, so she was unable to be here. But yes, I'm so appreciative for them. And again, all credit to our staff because, you know, it's the work they put in their classrooms and their day in and day out. So I just get to be here and observe and be proud. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
All right, our second presentation is in regard to disadvantaged pupil impact aid and our student success and wellness plan. This time, I will turn it over to Mr. Crapo.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Begley, members of the board, it is now required annually to discuss at a board meeting how we spend our disadvantaged pupil impact aid and student wellness funds, and then post that plan on the district website for the upcoming year. We have received these funds for many years. This is nothing new, except for now we need to have this discussion of how it's spent, and then we'll post it. We will then spend it, and then Jay and I will meet in June, and we will write how we spent the money and send it into the state. But so DPIA, Disadvantaged People Impact Aid, and Student Wellness and Success Funds are sent to the district from the state to prioritize needs that are not, maybe not curriculum-based or your normal needs within the school district, and then we get to figure out how we're going to spend them. And so this year, what we're going to be using these for are, number one, our success program. So as Dr. Franchini discussed earlier, the liaisons. So we're going to put some of the funds towards the liaisons. What this means is instead of coming from the general fund to pay the salary, it's going to be coming from the DPIA and student wellness funds to pay the salaries of the liaisons. Social workers, we do have 3 social workers in the district, 1 at the high school, 1 at the academy, and 1 here at Creekside. That's another mental health aspect to it. Our elementary school counselors, so part of their salaries will be pulled from those funds. Licensed school nurses, we have we might be an exception, but we have the ability, we have licensed school nurses in all of our buildings, which is a huge piece to this. They come with a vast experience in the field, and so we're able to use those funds to help offset that cost. The Fairfield Academy, because it is a alternative learning center, we're able to provide the academy to students that might need it for any number of reasons why they don't want to go to the high school or don't go to the high school or to the middle school. And so we can use those funds towards that piece. And that would wrap up this year's expenditures. We get roughly about $2 million annually for these funds. They used to come DPIA and student wellness, $2 million, and then everything else in the general fund. Now the state kind of puts it all together and sends it to the district. So we get our state lump sum revenue, and then we pull those funds out and then say how we're going to spend them. So it's a little bit different, but we do get audited the same way we always have on how we're going to spend those funds. It's just now we've got to talk about it and then share it. So anyway, that's how we plan on spending those funds. Everything goes towards student wellness and success, and to help the students in any other way that might be a gray area in education. So, any questions?
It sounds like that it's a benefit, actually, that number one, you share with us. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But that it's not really earmarked for anything. You can kind of put it to use.
Each district gets to pick and choose how they're going to, well, every district gets different amounts of money. It's based on a lot of different factors. But then when we do receive those funds, Mr. Phillips and I were able to sit down and say, how do we want to spend those funds? It's weird because it's mixed in the general fund deposit, so we do kind of have to pull those funds out and then figure out how we're going to spend them, budget it.
Good stewarded conversation.
Yeah, it's open.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think that although not all of the mandates coming down from the state are always what we want. I'm all for anything that provides more transparency for our community and our parents. I think these are great programs, and the fact that we're able to use funds that we get from the state that's not part of our general funds is amazing, because it just goes to show and more accents the fact that we provide services for the whole student. You know, these are all things that we're doing to continue to better our students. That's not just education. It's caring about them as people and their mentality and them as economical situations and stuff. And so I'm thankful for just more highlighting of those type of programs so that we can continue to show the community how we're taking care of the students.
Yeah, it's good. These are Fairfield programs. We're proud of these programs. We're going to have these programs. It just helps offset the cost of the programs and allow the general fund to go to elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I'd like to just add, I think this is a great opportunity. You know, we often, for example, talk about the state report card, and that doesn't define us. And some of the things that Matt just talked about are things that we are extremely passionate about and have been. And honestly, I think we've been a leader in this region in terms of caring for the whole child and mental health of our students. And he talked about those social workers and counselors and liaisons. And it is not, there is so much more, so many more examples. It's not an easy process to decide how do we, where do we want this to go, right? There's never enough. And I often talk about the importance of that work. And I remember when we first started doing it, there was pushback. And some of our own people pushed back on it and saying, hey, why are we doing this work? You should focus on teaching and learning. And my question was, well, if we don't do it, then who will? And I think some people forget, in addition to just serving kids, right, and meeting them where they are, these kids, these young folks, it's not a cliche, that they truly are the future of this community. They are the future neighbors, our future neighbors, and their kids are going to be walking these hallways, and the needs are abundant. And again, as Matt said, we're dedicated to the work. We're proud of the work. It matters. It's important. And I thought it was a good opportunity to kind of focus in on that. This is another example of something that we do that doesn't show up on a report card.
Absolutely.
So.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Crapo.